I'll ever be.
Yeah, it's a Tangled song.
Yeah, it came up on my Spotify, and I was like, this is amazing. I know this, and I don't know why. It's because you made me listen to it. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Hello,
Sorry, everyone.
everyone.
We're just talking about Tangled and it's amazing music. Anyway, hi.
Hi, welcome to Heavyweight Gaming. This is our DnD5e Fables Amongst Titans
Sponsored by
live
Sneak.
stream.
Hashtag
Very, very professional
hashtag
people.
professional.
Can you hear me on the?
Yes,
Yeah, we can
Am I
hear
a
you.
lot clearer?
Sorry, we're just plugging. We're plugging.
You
It's
are.
fine.
Yeah, that's. Oh no! Oh no! Right. Oh, it's working. I think.
Yeah. Yep. Right,
You
mate.
too,
goes
with
a
like
long
good
way.
energy drinks. Sneak is the
I don't know. I don't know if it's.
They're not sponsoring us. Leave it.
Oh, but they might
Leave it
sponsor
alone.
They
me.
want
Leave it
to.
alone.
They might sponsor me.
I don't actually. Right, they should now be able to hear me on the stream. Ah,
They can
they
hear you.
can hear me, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yay.
how. I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, cool. Where were we? Welcome to. Shush you. Welcome to Heavyweight Gaming. I've got Discord screaming at me as well. No, get off, you bastard. There we go. Right. Welcome to Heavyweight Gaming. We do lots of tabletop stuff. Tonight is DnD5e. Amongst other nights, been DnD5e. But this is the better one. It's the different one. Watch this one. Fables Among Titans. I realised that I was
to a cracking start.
realised I was just about
Everything is going well.
to slag off the other shows. The other shows are brilliant. I'm just biased.
Clip that, and put
So-
it on YouTube right now.
Do
someone.
not. You're all fired.
I'll put
So-
it in my compilation video later.
So, social media, just go to any platform and put in Heavyweight Gaming, you should find us. If you can't, try a different social media platform. We'd just like to say hello and thank you to our sponsors who have been with us since the start of the 22 sessions of Fables Among Titans. And that is Ruffworx Creative. If you go to Facebook and check out Ruffworx Creative, look at their photo album, you will see some ridiculous talent when it comes to woodworking and leatherworking. There is minimal machine effort put into these creations. It's all done through blood and sweat and tears. More tears, I'm told. But there's some really, really incredible stuff on there. And I've known Nick a very, very long time, and the passion he puts into his projects is awe-inspiring, which is why I let him do it, and don't let it inspire me too much to do it myself. So that's that. And Ishana is a brilliant glass crafter. You can go check her out right now as it happens, but do it later. She's streaming. She makes glass figurines. They're just fucking stunning. I say this every week. As soon as the world calms down a little bit, she's going to send us a load to give away to you lovely folks. So I can't wait to see that. There is a back and forth between myself and Ashana. We're trying to work out if it's feasible to do small D&D figurines. Obviously the detail won't be there as it is in some of the art, but to get a representation of your D&D character in a small glass figurine, I can't wait. So we'll see how she does with that. Our new sponsor to the channel, which you will have seen hopefully from last Friday and Saturday, Sunday, now tonight, and then forevermore until they get bored of us and bin us off, is Loki Battle Mats. They do exactly that. They are responsible for the Giant Book of Mats, Volume 1, Volume 2. They've got some sci-fi stuff, some cyberpunk stuff. They are, you can see the links in chat. They're so cool. They also do digital forms of all their physical. So if you use virtual tabletops such as Fantasy Grounds, Roll20, etc., you can use them. So you'll probably see the digital ones used by myself throughout our shows, and the physical versions used by Dice the Beholder and our Rime of the Frostmaiden game on a Friday. They sponsor the show, so go check them out. They're amazing. Thank you to Dice the Beholder for setting that up and making the middle ground of it, talking to them, whatever. But yeah, we're great. Thank you for them joining us. That's the sponsors, that's the social media. 200 bits. Give us 200 bits and this lot can have rerolls. They're only allowed 5 rerolls. They've got to use them this session. They can't use them on the DM. No, they can't use them on leveling up for their hit points if they roll a 1. That's it for bits. What else have I got, Mel?
Syrinscape.
Syrinscape. We use Syrinscape. If you put exclamation mark Syrinscape There's a little
She's
link.
on it. I can see her
Oh,
typing.
look at that, the mods.
She's typing.
So we use it for our background music on the Syrinscape notes. If you do happen to get hold of Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, the entire sound set for that campaign, Syrinscape already have put into their database. So if you are a subscriber or you wish to buy it individually, you can get the sound set. It's really cool and tries to match the story that you're telling throughout there. We use it for all our background stuff, whether it be just chilling out in a tavern, which is a lot, in a magical forest, which is a lot of late, or other things. They're good for battle, good for ambient, and I will say that in chat, let me know if it's too loud, too quiet, because it's on the same mixer as the players. So sometimes I'll have to turn it down a bit so you can hear the players and turn it up so you can hear the music. So just keep me noted. Mel, what am I missing?
Patreon.
Cool. Oh,
Patreon.
Patreon. We got a Patreon page. Just go ahead, Patreon. Look up Heavyweight Gaming. Throw a few dollars at it. We'll give you a e-magazine that is full of Colossus stuff. I mean, full. 30 pages full of Colossus stuff. So yeah, go check that out. It's very, very appreciated for those that do sign up. It's like £2.50, I think it is, and you get a 5e magazine. There's higher tiers. If you wish to do the higher tiers, you'll get a bit more. But yeah, we just throw it all back in to pay for things like artwork and cameras and my McDonald's when I'm bored. So thank you very much. It's totally, I've got kids to feed. So yes, and hobnobs to buy apparently. So yeah, so there we go, Patreon page. That's all our links spammed. We got a pub quiz coming up. So keep noses out for that on the social media, where we will invite everyone, whether it be players or fans of the show, chatters, etc. And we will do a massive pub quiz. Some of it will involve storylines that are going on the channel, and other things will involve how many legs does a three-legged donkey have. I don't know. So that's that. Christmas, we're doing a Christmas one-shot. So I'll let you know about that when it comes up. That's it, job done. Let's go.
That's it, job done. Let's go.
I'm going to put my Calm Forest music on while I do a recap.
Calm forest.
Well, my forest is calm. Was a sentence I never thought to say. Oi, Ruffworx.
Thank the gods.
Because, let's be honest, we'll need that.
Sapphire, give me a death saving throw. So, you last week and the week before, you were involved in a fight in the Grove of Anchors to defend it from 3 creatures or entities that had been put there by Ulrich to break the anchoring of the Fey realm away from the material realm to stop it spilling into 1. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. The air elemental succeeded and fudged off back to its home plane, taking Kesvion with it. They had a lovely conversation where Kesvion discovered that the elemental plane of air is actually held hostage to Ulrich, in that Ulrich has managed to acquire the horn of the Yamar, which is a incredibly sacred item, very much so that the words to Kesvion went along the lines of, if you get it back, we'll leave, we're out, we'll sod this war and help you smash Ulrich in the face. But whenever Ulrich has it, if he asks me to kill you, I will. So it's a very important item. That's on the to-do list. There was a moment where you all got together, Kesvion returned, you went back to the cabin in the woods that was the home of the Jesuit. There were, theories thrown around after hearing sorrowful songs and passing of powerful creatures within the druid flavourings of the Fey realm. And it was a very nice time to get a long rest, recuperate, get your health back, your magics back, meditate for your key to return, etc., etc. You are in the forest, in the cabin in the forest with Toodles. You've all rested, you've had your long rest. You awaken or come out of your reverie or dreamlike state, and you are aware of one another enough so that Toodles is making a breakfast. It smells very, very sweet and golden syrupy with oats, as you were all coming out of your certain states. And despite, again, the feeling of time passing in the forest, you are aware, or at least your body clock feels like it is a morning-esque moment. 3, 2, 1, go.
So instantly, as soon as like Kesvion starts looking like he's waking up, Sandra will just sort of quickly roll to the floor and pretend that she wasn't.
Snuggling
Cuddling
in
her
the
brother.
slightest.
Yeah. Just like you saw nothing.
Give me a perception check, Kesper.
I don't feel like this is the first time this has happened.
Rolls onto the floor and Sapphire's just sat there cross-legged like, hi.
I was watching you while you were sleeping.
Oh,
I think I maybe noticed because that was 19.
Can I say perception for the siblings is quite a high skill.
So yeah, Kes, you are aware that somebody was quite close to you and rolled away, and as you say, it's probably not the first time, and might be one of those things that you just never call her on. But
It was Ari. It was
Ari.
Ari.
It was Ari.
No, it's,
Ari's like
Ari's moving on.
Very day.
Ari's 40 feet across the room. He can move. That's
Yeah, you can move fast.
They can.
so.
in about 6 seconds, if we're to be believed.
So Toodles turns and has a large wooden tray with several bowls on it full of oats and some sort of sweet smell coming from the oats. As she starts passing them out to you all. Morning all.
Good morning, Toodles. Thank you for
Morning.
breakfast.
Do you all feel better?
Yes. So much better than yesterday. Oh.
More rested. Did you rest well, Toodles?
I did. I thank you. What next? As she passes out the oats to you all and starts going back to the cooking area. We'll call it a kitchen. And starts making a hot drink for you all.
Well, we had mentioned that once we had retrieved Kess that we would move on and regroup with the Jesuits along the borders. So I guess that will be our next move.
At the mention...
Once we've done,
Go on. Carry on, Kiss.
once we've done that, we should look to try and track down where Ulrich is. The sooner we get this horn back where it belongs, the better.
And the sooner we get the dagger back from Ulrich as well. I have a feeling I might know where he might be, which I know is weird.
I too have a feeling that I know where he might be, and my intuition is saying that he will be exactly where we suspect him to be, which would be right on the front line.
I don't know if he's there. I had this weird dream last night, and it felt like I was being called up to Marchbrook, so up north. But I don't know. I know people put stock in these dream things, but I don't know. Like, it was just weird. Like, we need to find him, and like, I had that message from the Savants as well about there, and I'm just a bit like, we need to find Ulrich though. That's like our top priority, and make sure that Jesuit's safe.
Well, Marchbrook was the last place we did see Ulrich, so perhaps he is still there, but I have a feeling if the attacks on the Copper Forest are happening, then he is most likely somewhere around here.
Also, time is weird here.
Mm.
Like, we don't know what's happening in Ravenholm right now.
No, not especially. I mean, if it doesn't feel like any particular time of day, even let alone months. And
any time could have passed, like literally any time. I think just, yeah, I think the main thing is let's go and see if we can find Ulrich. Hopefully he's right there on the front lines and we can confront him.
He does seem to have a habit of being where we are, which usually is a bad thing, but on this occasion it would be a rather good thing, I suppose.
We need to find Ulrich for the dagger, but we need to find the two that travel with him. I'm not sure if they are companions. I doubt they're any form of bodyguard.
They're
He
probably
hardly needs it.
companions.
But they are the ones that apparently hold the horn. They switch it between the two, but they're usually not far from his side.
The thing is, though, how can we get in and get these? Because confronting them head on seems a bit stupid.
We need to find out where they are first.
Yeah.
As you were to...
He-
It's every time gets me and you.
I wait for you to open your mouth.
As you are conversing, you notice that Toodles has stopped making the drink, and you just hear her say, "Oh no," and she's staring out of the window of the cabin wall in front of her. And as you look outside of the windows, and then you look just around the windows that show out into the copper forest, there are thousands of autumn leaves falling, like snowflakes, basically, like a very soft blizzard, if that makes sense. There's no aggression to the falling of leaves, but there is a shed ton of every plethora of autumn colours, let's assume I pronounced that correctly, of leaves falling all around the cabin. And it is clearly saddened Toodles.
I look out and see the falling leaves and just very quietly. So it's starting then.
So many stories.
We need to move quickly before any more fall.
What's happening?
This is a normal thing, right?
No.
The leaves are fallen fair. Something in the forest is ending their stories a lot. I would assume the forces of the humans are here, or on the edges, or it's not good.
We need to.
There is this that I found in the night. Sometimes the Jesuit has it high on her tree, but where you will have, I assume, seen them before. Bastard. And Toodles turns and there's a cooking pot, massive cooking pot, that you should have noticed when you walk in, but you get everything in here just kind of appears in your periphery. We can use this to scry, to help us if you want, but it's limited. I think we'd only be able to scry twice with it. I don't know if that's something you wish to do, or...
It would certainly help us locate the people that we need to find now to try and turn the tide of the battle. If there are uses, then we should do it.
Okay, I just need to know who we wish to scry on.
Well, the most important people that we need to find and stop right now are Ulrich and his two companions, so rightfully so, I would imagine trying to see if we can find Ulrich first, because if we are lucky, his two companions who have the horn will be with him.
Okay.
The other?
The other will be the Jesuit. However, if we look upon Ulrich and we do not see his companions with him, then we'll have to use the other to find the companions.
I can I can do that if that's what you want.
Yes, please, Toodles, if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, I'll scry on Ulrich first. She goes over and she starts. There's like around the cooking pot. There's like several pots of potpourri, and she starts picking them up and just scattering them into the waters, and you get that honeyed spice aroma coming off the pot. And then, as the steam settles, the liquid in the pot starts to clear and give you a visual. It is cloudy at first, and let us see if Ulrich is able to be scried upon. Motherfucker is. I'll keep that on for a second. So on a massive 10, Ulrich fails his defence against the scry. As it clears and the fog passes and the vision clears for the second time in the sentence, you see Ulrich stood there with his mighty necrotic warhammer in his hand. Around him you can only see about maybe 10-15 feet around him as the scry is focused on Ulrich. There are dulled sounds of combat. It is... The only reason you can hear it in a dulled form is that there is that much of it. You think if it was more one-on-one, you probably wouldn't be able to hear it, but the amount of noise this combat must be causing for it to come through in this scry is vast. The trees around him are of a coppered bark, which will tell you he is within the forest itself. There is no... You cannot see anyone close by to him, but you do see shapes on the edge of this 15-foot rushing round. Whether they be on Ulrich's side or the forest side, you're unaware. But Ulrich is definitely within the forest somewhere, and there is a mighty battle happening wherever they are. And the scry will fade. And Toodles looks just as distraught as she did when she noticed the falling of leaves. Well, he's in the forest.
It was highly expected of him to be in the forest at this point.
Did that look like they were there with him?
I couldn't see beyond Ulrich's scryings, a little bit localised.
If they're in the forest, I doubt they would be far, especially while they hold the horn. They need it to blackmail. He wouldn't have it out of his sight.
Do we want to maybe use a scry again and check on Jezeri? Because again, if they're also within the copper forest, then I think we can probably surmise they're at the same battle.
Quite right. Let's use it for the Jesuit then.
Would doing that help us actually find them, though? They could be anywhere in the forest. Surely. I'm sorry, Toodles. I'm not. I don't quite understand how it works.
It's okay. I can attempt to scry on a person or an area, but the problem with scrying on an area is if there's nobody there, it's just a patch of grass, really.
Could you maybe try sending the Jezeri a message and see where
I could try.
Where they are, and then we can try and go to them, because
I have my magics back. I could give it a go if you didn't wish to use a scry.
I think it might be wiser.
You hear a whistling noise. Oh, as Toodles turns and texts the kettle that she just left to heat. And finishes pouring the hot drinks. Passes them around like it's just part of the day. Do you know what I mean? What do you want me to send? I've got 20, 25 words. Just where are you? I'm a little bit worried actually where Old Oak is. Normally checks in. And Killin. And everybody else.
We have to have some hope that they are well and that they are not hurt.
And I would hope that they would be protecting Desiree. I mean, I know Kalain would have gone back to protect Desiree. There's no doubt in my mind of that.
As for the message for the Jesuit, where are you? We are coming to you. Are you safe? Is Kalain or Old Oak with you? I think that was 18.
Okay. Toodles takes a deep breath and she casts the spell. A couple of seconds pass and you hear a voice within the entire cabin rather than just to Toodles. I am everywhere, Summer Breeze, child of summer, wielder of the glaive. This is a time I cannot take physical form and stand with you. The forest needs me. Kalain has fallen, but not yet past. Old Oak is finding his youth again. And that's it. Toodles takes a bit of a breath, and you see no tears, but you can tell she's on the brink.
We need to get moving to that battle.
Do you need the second scry?
We will do to possibly figure out where it is, if that's something you can do, Toodles, unless you could recognise it from your first scry.
There's a moment of... I could try and scry... I could try that. I don't know about the Oasis, but here we turn it around a lot. There is a shifting. I could try. There will be there. We could find the elves, Walks and his rangers. They know the roots of the forest. They will definitely know if there is a battle.
Then we try and find them.
We do that. Then. The quickest way we can get to helping them, because
I can send a message to Walks. Just asking for him to come.
I think that would be wise.
yeah.
She closes her eyes, casts the magic again, and she sends a message to Walks, which you can assume is "Get your ass here." Moment passes. He's on his way.
Good.
He seems to know where the battle might be. We have moments. I don't. You know.
Out of character, Luke is worried because this is Walks.
Walks turns up at a cabin. He's at a different cabin. He's like, where the fuck is everyone?
Oh no.
It's all right.
It's like a cabin in the forest of winter. He has got so turned around.
Wrong season, bud.
Unfortunately, Sapphire doesn't know Walks, so he's completely confident.
Yeah.
Like an elven ranger.
Do you need the pot? Do we need to scry for anything else?
I don't think there's anything that would be worth you taking the energy for it, or especially if we're about to go into what could be and will be a very heated battle.
The Jesuit said Kalain had fallen but not passed. Would you mind if I scried on Kalain?
Okay.
Go ahead.
She walks over to the pot puts the dried herbs and stuff in the pot and does the same that she did before. A moment passes. There is no resistance in the scry. It immediately becomes clear. And as she stands there staring at it, you now see tears just soaking the edge of the fur just under her eyes. Those that look into the pot and look at what she sees, you see a young boy of some age, just youthful, with long blonde hair in braids, not a goatee, in a very nice white gold tunic, trousers, barefoot, walking the leaves of the copper forest with a enormous blonde furred bear covered in druidic symbols, and they are just enjoying a moment in the forest. It is incredibly serene, not a sign of battle around them. It's just a snapshot clip of what appears to be Kalain as a boy with his bear. The scry passes, and there is a small smile pops up on Toodles' face. He is safe for now. The Jesuit must be protecting him, or Old Oak. Sorry, speak.
I was going to say, given the Jesuit's words about Old Oak, I'm going to take a wild guess that Old Oak and Kalain are definitely together.
Thick of it.
Toodles! Are you there, Toodles? Oh, Walks is here. Dun, dun,
Oh,
dun.
fantastic.
Segway!
Here comes our favourite ranger.
Walks in to the cabin, and you see before you the Elven Ranger you saw before. This time his attire is quite beaten. There is less glamour to it, and it looks very much like he spent a lot of time in the material realm forests, not a fair realm. His hair's tied to keep it completely away from his face. His quiver only has 3 arrows in it. His bow looks like it's standing up to whatever he's been using it in. But Walks is with you. Oh, hi, hello. Hi, it's good to Kesvion, Zandria, Ari. Don't know you, points at Ori and Sapphire. Ori's been really
I am
quiet.
Sapphire.
Hello?
Takes him a bit to wake up.
Like a week. Toodles said you're after, it's all kicking off. You obviously know it's Kalain. I mean, then there's Old Oak, the Jesuit. She did her thing. It's all.
Yeah, we know Walks. If you could potentially take us to the battle as quickly as possible, then we can start fighting back.
Yeah, we're here to help.
It's. And there is conflict. So Toodles walks up to him and gives him a brew. Drink that, Walks. Just drink that and calm down. He takes his drink and he takes a long, deep breath and sits. He's no time for standing. Sits down. So, they're winning. They're actually winning. Kalain went down. The Jesuit disappeared, but then and when I say disappeared, I mean before my eyes, just woof. The forest felt alive, more alive than I felt it in the millennia. Kalain's body's still there. There's some sort of like cocoon all around him, which we all know is the Jesuit. But the Jesuits, I can't find her anywhere. We've tried tracking her. Old Oak is a scary ass satyr. No offence, Toodles. He's a lot taller than I expected. It's not going well. I don't.
Is Ulrich there?
Ulrich is there. His hammer
That's where we
and
need to go.
dagger is. His hammer is ruling our. We don't have armies. We have aggressive stories. Let's put it that way. But his blade is ending those stories. That dagger is not. And he looks at Kess and Xandria. Not something you want a wound from. We don't have long, but I think Old Oak is retreating the forces away and allowing Ulrich that territory on the western side of the forest. Because rushing into it, we're not prepared for a stand-up war battle. That's not what we do. That's not our stories. We are, and a lot of the creatures that scare folks, even thinking about this, have left. They're heading into the material realm to the east. We don't even have those. Normally we just set loose on fools that try to come in here aggressively. Some of them are creatures I wouldn't go near myself, but they definitely work well as a deterrent. Less so now. The forest is different. It's different at the moment. I'll take you there, but be prepared to run where Old Oak wishes us to run. I don't think a stand-up fight is something I want to see you two take part in. He's just ignoring everyone else and focusing on Kesvion and Xandria. I saw you face him before with his hammer and Killane, but I'd never seen him use that dagger on one of our people before. And it is...
What does it do?
He gestures to the falling leaves all around the cabin. So many stories gone in a single blow. There is
Single blow?
a single blow, Sapphire, was it?
Yeah, sorry, yeah. Yeah. And Sapphire's like absentmindedly looking out the window at all of the leaves.
It's like a blizzard. That blade is of a magic not complementary to our people.
We need to get that blade and that horn away from them immediately.
What horn?
We've been informed that Ulrich and his crew are currently holding on to a horn which is controlling the air and air elementals. They are forced to do his bidding. If we can retrieve that horn, they will be on our side.
When you say his crew,
Yes.
There are two others who fight alongside him quite closely. They appear to be possibly vampiric in nature. The horn is kept between the two of them.
there was one with him of such a description, not two.
That's rather odd. If there's only one, then where is the other?
I couldn't tell you.
Could you describe the one that you saw?
They had a look of those from Surut, from the desert lands, similar to where your oasis is, but the humans. Long dark hair.
No, I know of who. I know of who you speak.
They fight similar to you, Kess. With
I know.
two blades. So
We can't waste any more time.
So you want to go straight there, or do you want to meet up with Old Oak on retreat?
It's not going to be pretty either way.
I just don't want us to get there and be the only ones there if Old Oak's already moved on.
No, quite right.
But I
We
will.
should go Old Oak first. If he is allowing them to take that section of the copper forest, then it's best we allow that to happen and we plan, we strategize.
He knows the forest really well as well, so he can help with strategizing.
We need a tactic, and it needs to be good.
Yeah.
Rushing in head first is definitely going to get us all killed, but time is of the essence, so we do need to move quickly.
Cool. Okay, Toodles, you ready? And you've noticed that Toodles is stood there, backpack, everything, bow, quiver. Like, when did you get ready? But Toodles is ready to go in her 7-foot satire bardic form. Right, I don't suppose you've got any more arrows, Toodles. And she just looks across at Walks. Check your quiver. He looks over his shoulder and his quiver has been replenished. Lead the way. Yeah, right. This went so well last time.
Don't get lost. Please don't get lost. We can't afford to get lost.
So, you head out
That's how you ended up outside of Ulrich's tent.
Excuse me, we're looking for a death knight. Oh, he's here. You out the cabin in the woods.
It might actually work the best for us while he's asleep.
Yep, the element of surprise.
Coup de grace,
Yes, no, we met
motherfucker.
on the battlefield.
Yeah, we
Hold
totally
the pillow
didn't.
down harder.
We totally didn't do the cowardly thing and stab him in his sleep. No.
Sandra, you
We
still
only
got that
came in
brick
and
in a
murdered
sock.
all our-
So, Walks takes you out of the cabin into the forest itself. You feel quickened as he is darting forwards, walking in as he did before, totally professional-like, zigzagging, almost in circle spirals, like he's following an unseen path. Every now and then he will stop. He will check the bark of the trees as he lays his hand on it. He will crouch down and check the foliage around. As you are pottering through, the blizzard of autumn leaves is everywhere, falling gently and quite thickly. Toodles walks most of the time with her hands held out, allowing the leaves to touch her fingertips as they fall. Walks, coughs, gives you away, and you all get shot. You keep going. You reckon you've been travelling almost half a day. You feel that hunger at midday-ish where you would settle for food, but no difference in your surroundings gives you sign of that. You then, in fact, give me perception checks, all of you.
I'm like trying to check if it's a 3 or an 8. Bad either way.
I was going to say.
Good
Doesn't
job.
make much of a difference. 21.
Cool,
22.
cool.
Putting my faith in Bardic here as I roll my sapphire dice.
Ooh.
Watch it rolling that one.
9, so that's 14.
11.
So Sapphire and Harry less so, but as Kess and Zandria start reacting, you will probably see what they do as well. Ahead of you, you see lots and lots of shapes moving, whether they be on 2 legs, 4 legs, in the trees. There is among the trees, clearly doing well at what's the word? Almost in a chameleon-like esque, keeping themselves part of the part of the decor. But you notice it. You notice that change, similar to a mirage on the desert. You can see that it's not real, and there is actually folk trying to hide through the forest and moving in a singular direction. But they're about 100 feet away. There's an odd noise that sounds slightly off to yourselves, Kess and Zandria, that doesn't quite match the snapping of a twig, the squeak of a squirrel, etc. It's like a bad dubbing. You're like, there's definitely folk off that way. Walks. Fuck. Walks doesn't notice it, and he's kind of looking. He's kind of looking in the opposite direction.
Gonna give Walks just a little bit of a
Nudge.
Like, but like try and do it on like the kind of sly, just like keep walking and almost kind of like not quite like shoulder checking, but just kind of like bump them forward a little.
Just either side, the twins just bumping
like-
him in the right direction. Oh, come on, Mork.
Yeah, he staggers forward a little bit after the bump, rights himself, looks, this way. And off he goes towards the completely...
Siblings exchange a look.
God, you guys
The
don't
look
want-
of disbelief.
As you are approaching them, how are you approaching the clearly trying to hide mass of fair creatures?
Well,
Are we sure they're fake?
yeah.
Because
One
at
of
no
these.
point was I sure that they were face. So my like as we get closer, like I am drawing my scimitars just in case, because I am not expecting Walks to know what he's just walked us into.
Yeah,
Didn't see anything.
there's a level of quiet and stealth as we potentially get closer, just to be on the safe side.
Oh God, yes. Like tiptoeing as much as possible. Oh my God.
Yeah, we're not just like walking up and
Just
being
say,
like,
have you
"Hello,
passed this
friends."
message on? Because apparently we saw nothing.
Yeah.
Well, I would imagine that when you see everyone else
When-
ahead
when-
of you,
Yeah, when Walks is alerted to the fact, he will he's pointing at it now, and now you're looking the same way Walks is pointed. You see that same shimmer of like almost mirage-esque creatures ahead of you. So you are approaching with weapons out. Are you stealthing? Any of you?
Stealth.
Yes.
Yup.
Stealth.
Give me some stealth rolls.
Oh, God. I
Oh.
rolled a stealth roll in a minute.
For notes, Orion got a natural 20.
Oh, good.
Oh, 24.
Jesus, right.
19.
24.
Come on, Rogie
I know got a
McRogueface.
+7.
Please,
Oh,
for the
no.
love of God.
8.
Mel.
16.
16. Jesus.
I think the average works out.
I was going to say, if you need it, we have a reroll, but that still seems high enough to me. Like,
That's
You're the rogue.
Yeah, you're the
Rogue
rogue.
with a +7.
The +7.
The two giants were quieter than you.
To be fair, I don't know Ori's final score, but I think it's like 25, maybe 6.
Yeah.
So, you are very quiet. Let's see what Walks' stealth score is. Ah!
Oh no.
He got a 20.
Everyone bar Aaron.
Toodle's got on that one, so...
Ah, well, there we go. There's the
As-
modifier.
You all go stealth mode, and you start approaching the crowd of creatures, whatever they may be, ahead of you. Toodles, you turn, and they have disappeared, but you can hear crunching really close next to you. You look down and you can see an invisible something crunching its way through leaves and dry sticks, and they might not be able to be seen, but they can definitely be heard. As-
Chestnut.
As you approach, incredibly quietly, to the point where you can't even hear each other, even with Ari's stealth, Ari is very quiet. The mass of shimmering shapes that have chameleon themselves holds, and it is now like when you see heat and it sort of flickers in front of you in the air, you get that sort of feeling. Stepping out of it, as if from behind a curtain, you see a hunched, what can only be described as the oldest mother kipper in the forest, hunched over with a walking staff in their robes. You only know who it is because you know who it is. To everyone else, it would look like a quite could have been tall in their youth, very hairy-faced individual. You see before you Old Oak, aka Bacarian. And as he stumbles forward, I can see all of you, you bloody idiots. Step out, step out.
We were just being on the safe side, Old Oak.
Where
should
have
know.
you lot been?
Dealing with the
defending
grove of
anchors.
anchors.
Well, that didn't work, did it? We've lost one. Jezzerit only knows what the others. Where Jez has gone, Kalane's fallen over, lazy ass. Well, come on. We're retreating. He's not happy with that word.
It's a tactical retreat, if anything.
Tactics? We're not a military, Summer Breeze. We're not a military. This is survival. That big bastard with the knife, he's winning.
Surviving still falls under tactics.
We're still on that. I've moved on. Come on, we need to go. Step beyond this tree. Beyond it, not into it. And you feel yourselves almost go loop and pass through a thin veil. And you see now in front of you every fair creature of the stories you've ever heard, whether they be in a tavern, from your tribe's elders. There are pixies, fairies, satyrs. There are willows and wisps. There's yethhounds. There's quicklings. There's brownies. There's blink dogs. There's creatures that probably have a name that you just can't think of. There's spriggans.
Please tell me the others shit their pants.
Probably have a name you just can't think of is my favourite.
Translation: I've run out of creatures to name.
No, I genuinely mean there are fair creatures in there that none of you have ever heard of.
Yeah, I love that it worked in both senses. There's beautiful about it.
There's other stuff.
Other things.
Can I have a wisdom save from Sapphire and Ari? And I'll do Ori's.
Well, I knew that was coming.
That's why I said, do you shit your pants?
So, Ori does it with advantage due to fair stuff. Got a nat 1 and a nat 20.
Wow.
Oh,
Good job, Orion.
That is
'Cause
ridiculous.
we can't carry them.
Yeah, no.
Probably good.
Ari, what did you get?
9.
Oh, yeah, bye.
I got a 21.
So,
I apparently can't roll above a 9 today.
you are
The
both
human craps himself.
you are both overwhelmed by the amount of, best way of putting it is fear magic. The amount of creatures in here that rely on charming someone, not even deliberately, it's just an aura they carry. Those that are not of the forests or kindred are affected quite a lot, but you are getting assailed by charms from multiple directions. That some are simply stand still and listen to me talk, some are come to the sound of my voice, some are put your head underwater and take a breath. You are getting absolutely overwhelmed. Sapphire, you focus like a dot on a wall 10 feet in front of you while bad shit's going on around you. You've gone full meditative, and you focus, you concentrate on your key and you bring it all to your centre and you block out all these charming effects coming towards you. You take a breath and you are now immune for at least the next 24 hours to a lot of these fair creatures. Ari's gone. Ari, you step through the thin veil that Akarian gestured towards. You step through and it's just a cloud of noise in your mind, suggesting things, demanding things, advising, whispering, and it just overwhelms you and you pass out.
As soon as Ari drops to the floor, I roll my eyes and then go over and pick him up.
What's your strength, Andrea?
My strength? My strength is 13.
Oh, you're fine. You pick Ari up.
Yeah, I was going to say, my strength is one of my good things.
So you pick Ari up and are able to carry Ari. I will say you will get tired carrying Ari, but you are strong enough to pick Ari up. Ori offers the one arm.
I just kind of pick Ari up and I kind of look at his face and then I look at my hand like,
I could slap him, nobody would know.
slap him, pick him up.
Akarian.
I looked at everyone else. I looked at Cass, and I'm just like, should I?
Old Orc walks over. Bloody humans. Puts a hand on Ari Ari, you feel feels like you just drunk a glass of mead, and you wake up. Your mind is you feel like there's a cloud at the back of your mind, but you don't hear or feel the charms assailing you. I'll keep you awake for the walk. You can still slap him if you want, Zandria.
When he's awake now, it's pointless. It's funnier when he's asleep.
Why are you carrying me?
Because you dropped to the floor like a sack of shit.
More potatoes, but shit works. Right, let's go. And Old Oak starts walking. All these creatures start flying, slithering, walking. 4 legs, 2 legs, 12 legs. It's a bit of a zoo.
Went to mow a meadow.
All over the Irish Sea. You are moving through, and it clearly is parody is the wrong word. It is akin to a refugee line moving away from an invaded land, if you were to pull from stories and tales you've heard of war in the past. There is a music about them, a musical ambient about a lot of the creatures here that many of you are used to. I will now bring in, and hopefully it won't go super loud, but we'll see. Old Oak is at the front. That is super loud. Old Oak is at the front. And there is 2... They look like rainbow-scaled dragons that are about the size of a large owl. And they are fluttering, flying, either side of Old Oak. And they just kind of, every now and then they move out and about in front of him and come back. And he'll look to them both as if they're sharing communication. Kess, you are 100% know that this is essentially the lookout creatures that you've used. You've used hyenas or blink hyenas in the desert and jackals and such to do that sort of thing. Old Oak is using fairy dragons because he's better than you. So, well,
I couldn't argue it.
at least for the next 10 levels. And he's kind of grumbling to himself and makes no effort to talk to you unless you talk to him.
Harry's trying to avoid all these other creatures, knowing that they've just made him pass out.
Harry's having a bit of a moment where it's, as you hear the running of water, sound of running water. Harry's having everything's bumping into you. There are things smiling at you in a very seductive way that is beyond like being in a pub and having a flirt. Like you're fully aware that seductive look is dangerous. There are things just absolutely baring teeth wanting to eat your face, but you can't tell if that's a normal look for them or they've made effort to make you feel that way. You're possibly quite nervous in this situation, but being surrounded by, there are hundreds of Fae all around you moving through this copper forest in a direction.
I think he's probably more just trying to focus on like the party of folk that he knows and just be like kind of looking between them and trying not to catch anyone else's eye and just being like...
Are we kind of in the middle of
You are wherever you wish to be.
Or... are we like on the edge? I realised that I continued after you'd already told me that.
When Old Oak first brought you in, he took you into the thick of it, so that you were surrounded by fair creatures. Once he went to the front, it's entirely up to yourselves where you place yourselves among this throng of fae.
I think Kess at least will head up towards the front. So I presume Drea would also probably head up towards the front. And I think if Kess has noticed that Ari is probably about to be eaten alive for the lulz because somebody needs something to cheer up their day, then he'll kind of like almost like kind of pop a hand on like his shoulder and kind of like steer him and kind of put himself between the less human-friendly fae and their pet human.
Okay. The pet human, I love it.
It's just not sporting at that point. Like, come on, guys, we all like to fuck with the humans, but like this one's trying to help. Like,
so as you two make your way to the front, Ari, a humanoid fae, they have a aquamarine colour to their skin. Their hair is a much darker green than Kesfion's, and the attire they are wearing is made up of reeds and riverbank-esque materials, and they have a couple of pebbles that probably taken from the bed of a river, like dotted around on some of their clothing, like used as the clasp for the shoulder piece that comes over, and they are striking. They're clearly noticeable as they walk towards you. They are androgynous. I always fuck that word up. As they approach, but they are very striking as they approach. They have a smile on their face, pearly whites, but you feel the suppressed aura about them. Whether that's what Orkarian helped you with, Old Oak, or the humanoids coming towards you, but you can feel that there is no advantage they are allowing with their aura. And they kind of just walk in beside you. Hello, you're pretty.
Tries to ignore them and keep walking.
They walk behind you, almost skip beside you.
He's heard stories. He's heard far too many stories growing up.
I'm not going to bite. Are you ignoring me?
Help.
Well, I have no doubt you're here to help. I mean, Old Orky hasn't killed you yet, so that's good. And sort of gives you a little nudge on the shoulder. I do have a question for you. Who's that one? And points at Kess.
An ally.
An ally? I know he's an ally. He's one of us. I just wondered why he was with you. I'm not used to seeing my folk outside the forest.
Your folk?
Well, the fair folk. And they gesture to you are surrounded. You're in a zoo.
So many.
You in their presence, the sound of the river that is not far is quite loud, as if they're amplifying it. What water do they live in? Again, gesturing towards Cass.
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't know where your ally's home is?
I do, but I don't think they'd want me to tell you.
That's very true.
Stranger danger, stranger danger.
Yeah, Sapphire slowed down.
Mommy said don't open the door, talk to people that I don't know.
He's feeling it right now. He's really feeling it.
Yeah, Sapphire has slowed down to walk alongside Ari to kind of keep an ear open. Sapphire trusts Faye about as much as he trusts fiends.
The water fae looks at you, Sapphire, again, with that striking smile. Hello.
Hi.
Are you another ally?
I think so. Looks at Ari with a raised eyebrow.
Your best answer, Harry. Harry, is it? That's a nice name. I got your name. I got your name. That's going in the notes. Thank you.
Jesus.
Sapphire, you may have a inspiration dice.
That was the reason I said an ally. God damn it.
I trust Faye about as much as here's his name.
But Ari's not his real name. It's his true name.
It's the name he answers to.
So, Harry. If you ever fancy a swim, just let me know.
me stories.
Have you?
Not
Like
to go
what?
not to go in the woods. It's
Well, we're not in the
great.
woods. We'll swim in the water. You don't swim in the woods, silly.
No, thank you. I'm gonna keep going. Thanks.
Bye. Do you want to go swimming? Looking up at Sapphire.
Get fucked. Oh, I gotta go swimming.
I would say swim first, but no.
Not my type.
Okay. Bye bye. And they skip off into the crowd.
His fur is all stood like on end.
But like Don King. Just like... Kess and Andrea, you're up at the front, or at least you are within talking distance of Old Oak, if you so wish.
Oh yeah, I
Did
am
they not
absolutely.
follow. I thought he was. Like turning to now kind of like walk backwards and trying to like meerkat to see if he can see where they left their collection of chuckle
You can see Sapphire well above.
I'm sure like Sapphire and Orion are probably an
They're
adept.
white. For
Orion,
one.
Orion is living the dream. Orion seems to be quite welcomed.
He's making pals.
Yeah.
Yeah. We might have lost him for good.
That's it. Mm.
The fair creatures are well enamored with Orion. And you see Ari kind of coming towards you at kind of a quick pace.
They're trying to cross the road quickly but not run walk. Yes.
Get
So
me away
it's-
from this bay.
So Sharadel's questioned enamored. Is that right? Is that the word?
Yeah.
All right,
enamored.
cool. I'll go with
Enamored.
that. I'll go with that. Cool. Yeah, Tess. So,
Enamored is-
are you talking to Old Oak?
Yes.
Cool. Zandria?
Lucarian. Tell us what happened at the battle. And don't skimp on the details.
Details. Angfire. And he does his communication with the fairy dragons, and they just turn and fly, and they start flying above the entire procession of fair creatures all the way down, and everyone starts to stop and then move away from each other in a let's make camp sort of attitude. And the mass is stopped. He walks over, just happens to be a tree stump readily prepared for Old Oak to sit, and he does so. He waves his hand in front of him, and you see what can only be described as a manipulation of the elements as a fire begins to create in the middle of this small area that just... You hate the bastard. He's just, look at the Irish. And he manages to generate this small fire. There is a small area with tree stumps where you can all sit, and he has a small camp within a minute or two ready to share the details of the battle with you. As I go to my document.
Well, that's all happening. Ari's getting a bit of a telling to for wandering off in a big group of fae.
I mean, he didn't wander off.
didn't wander off, he was
walking
behind you.
quick enough.
No, like Kess had kind of given him a little shove, and like I said before I headed up to the front, that I was like, "Come on," and then kind of moved forward, and
He
Ari
just
chose
didn't
to
walk quick
dimble,
enough. Yeah.
and he got felt by the
He got
fae.
he got accosted. It's not the first time. It's not going to be the last time. Let's be honest.
Nope.
I'm assuming...
Tried not to, okay? I'm like Toodles.
I'm assuming, Sapphire, you march up and join them in this small area to sit, yeah? So you're all...
Yep.
Unless you're out hunting fae. Start swinging your dagger at, you're not going to miss. But you all sit with all the Akarian. Walks and Toodles are in the same area. Walks is doing exactly that and sort of doing a perimeter check for what good that is of what's going on. He's the red shirt. I'm telling you now, he's the red shirt. Toodles sits really close to all the Karian, but she sits on the floor. The tree stump's only a few inches off the floor. There's no tree stump nearby. She just sits on the floor next to all the Karian and just rests her head on him in a granddaughterly fashion. There's a description for you. Get it in the book, Kess. Get it in the book. So.
I was like, what?
Kickstarter, Luke. Come on, man. Stay with me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so it's been. Yeah, I'm here, present.
The one with the knife. He walked into the forest unhindered. The creatures leaving the forest ignored him. Those creatures are heading east, and looks at Harry. I hope your wall is strong. Ulrich and his confidant is close to him. Some mortals will call them vampire. There are many words, but she was definitely bloodthirsty. Then you had armies of white-robed warlocks. Definitely 100% warlocks. Those that were in the town, the guards with the white robes and the hooded wolf upon them. They came here in force. They were smart, equipped. They knew which of our, and he sort of gestures around, what weaknesses our creatures had, what strengths they had. And it beyond those of the fireside tales that the humans tell each other. They were deep, intimate. It was the second time in my life I have been scared. But then Cullen, old landlord, the wee boy himself arrived, and all was good. And Cullen did what he does best and gave Ulrich a whooping until that blade landed. I've never seen anything like it in my life. A single blow to take down the landlord was not what I expected. The necrotic hammer, yes, it stings. And as he says that, he sort of adjusts his robe a little bit as if remembering something about the hammer. But that blade, a dagger, there is something about it that is... I don't like the word evil and good, but it has an essence to it that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. And then the Jesuit appeared, and... well, what more do you want when you're defending your home than the Jesuit, the Archfey of Autumn? And he sort of rises a little bit, you hear a creaking of his spine, looking up at the sky. There's no leaves falling around this procession, by the way. Lancelot, Cullen, the Jesuit, Tyrell, Tamil. How could we lose? And when Cullen fell, the Jesuit went mad, screaming, screeching. Magic's not meant to be used on on anyone. And then they did what they could do to save the landlord and gave themselves over to the forest. The Jesuit is no more and yet everywhere. The very forest we walk through now is the Jesuit. Their leaves are falling fast, and it will not be long before the Jesuit is no more, and autumn will stand empty for a while. But Cullen is preserved through that sacrifice, or at least for a time. His soul is far away, but his body is cocooned and protected. But that Ulrich, he works at that cocoon. He wants Kalin. There is a hunger behind Ulrich. Not for all charisma, I'll tell you that for nothing. But he is ambitious, keen, and was very, very direct when Kalin took the battlefield. Kalin is a guardian imbued by the forest itself. I fear the spillage of our realm and the material realm becoming one will allow Ulrich to take that power, to become the guardian of what they deem theirs now. The Jesuit will have time for us soon to take form and speak, but not a lot. Their very essence is what keeps the forest intact at this moment. And I will say, well bloody done in a grove of anchors. Despite my earlier outburst. Not an easy place to fight, nor with creatures from outside. How are you all? How are you doing?
Oh, as good as can be.
Yeah, fine. The fight was fine. Everything was okay. It was, yeah.
Wow.
A sideways glance from Harry.
Same from Zandria.
Sapphire's doing that thing that animals do where it's like the 1,000-yard stare, just... Oh.
Walks, come here. And walks over, head sort of down, like doesn't like old man Oki giving him shit. Yeah. Tell them about the bull people. So I walks like, so yeah, so the mortals call them the House of Tor. They have done things with their hybrid animals. I mean, we have creatures that are called centaurs, and he looks around as if recognition. Some of you know, some of you may not. But that's natural. That's just what they are. But these humans have merged animal and human, and well, they are. Looks at Harry. Your crafters, your creators in the south, the ones that wear grey. Yeah, their northern territory is in the hands of these the Tor, the House of Tor. They push through, all in their realm. They never came through our realm, but we could see on the perimeter. I had other rangers with me to tell me, as I stared at a tree. But
So the ones in grey are now taken over by the House.
not wholly, but they fought well. But I think their northern territories are now held by the House of Tor. They didn't have a lot there, and I think it was wise for them to run south. Survival, and looks at old orcs. They're surviving. They're surviving better. Your leaders, the ones with the falcon, they are there seems to be no activity going towards them. I don't know why, but the forces or your armies and soldiers, they're not attacking those with the falcon on them. Tell them about the wall, lad. Yeah, so the wall it's in danger. Like, we know what the wall does, and we know that the House of the Eagles protects all Ravenholm from the fiends, and we know. Yes, tell them. They know that we are protected as well. And Walks is like, yeah, okay. If that wall falls, we all fall. But there's some of our creatures, our people that are going towards it, and they are driven by hunger. They are the creatures that probably your ancestors told stories about to keep you out of our forests. But now they're loose. They've never held, what's the word? No one's ever commanded them, not even the Jesuit. They just merely exist, and we allow them to roam where they roam. If they go into the material realm, sometimes your people get eaten. But they generally stay here. But now the barrier, the veil, the realms are mixed. They're out, and they all headed east. Like, we tried to track them to see where they went and tried to herd them, but they're all going at that wall with purpose. So I don't know how they, obviously your house or their house, the Eagles, have done a great job and just a bit of a all these years keeping the fiends out, so they can obviously handle themselves. But I don't know how they'll fare against our creatures. I will say that if our creatures die in the material realm, they're dead. Whereas if you kill a fae within our realm, there are moments the story is retold a few days later. But yeah, you can go now, Walks. Okay, and Walks. He walks away from the thing and starts doing his perimeter again. So, Old Oak, I'm gonna make some food for everyone here and just rest, and then we can ask more questions. I like rest. Let's rest. And while we rest, we'll call it break time, because it's 9:30. So we're going to have a quick break. We're going to let that digest, so you lot can come up with some questions in your 10-15 minute break. Thank you for watching so far. Loads of stuff is coming to a thing, so there's lots of plot hooks being thrown out, so hopefully we'll get to see where this lot want to push. And Jade will remain with one plaster, not two, during the break. Right, so join us in about 15 minutes, kids. We're all going to go for bio breaks and drinks. And we'll be back as soon as we can, so don't go away. And if you do go away, come back. Tell all your friends, bring them. Bye-bye. See you in a bit. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 15. Bye-bye.
Oh, Trolls Maiden.
It's Troll's Maiden here. Hi, we're back, Troll. We're back, Troll. Din, 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 din. Can you hear me? Is that the right mic? That should be the right mic. Where's my music? Syrinscape. Small River. I love Syrinscape. It's so cool. So, welcome back. We've had the break. We were 1 minute longer than usual. I do apologise. Welcome, Trolls Maiden. I hope your game went well earlier. I tuned in for a moment, then had to jump back out because my child decided to throw toys at my head. But yeah, no. So, just before the break, this slot. Oh, it's raiding with a party 9. Oh, nice. Look at that, Troll. I see what you did there, Troll. I see what you did there. Well played. Well played, sir. Well played. Thank you very much for the raid. All you lovely Trolls Maiden fans, thank you very much for coming across. You'll be shocked to find we're playing DnD5e Ed. So please enjoy. Just before the break, you lot had discovered that Kalane had fallen, yet somehow his physical form was cocooned in a protective state put on him by the Jesuit. His soul was wandering somewhere in the Copper Forest as a child, accompanied by a blonde-furred bear, So the Jesuit had become one with the forest. Killane had fallen and his physical form cocooned. Old Oak was leading the what was left of that battle with Ulrich, who'd managed to just walk into the forest with ease with a shed ton of Knights of the Hooded Wolf and began laying waste on the fair creatures. So Old Oak decided to cheese it and take as many of the fair as he could with him through the forest. The fair creatures that escaped or were let loose, depending on your point of view, are all heading towards the ivory wall in the material realm that is Ravenholm, and quite deliberately directed at the ivory wall. So you have those moments of information to talk about with yourselves. One of the vampiric companions of Ulrich was or is with him. The other one you do not know. Toodles is quite a badass breakfast maker. Walks is shit, and I apologise for him being in my game world.
If anything happens to him, I'm going to be fucking heartbroken.
Yeah. Just a bit.
He's like a two-legged chihuahua. You're an affront to God. But if anything happens, I'll kill everyone and then myself.
Zandri will just kill someone else. So, and you are all sat
Probably walks.
sharing a sharing a moment of food and such with Old Oak. You asked for details of the battle. Old Oak gave you a few, then asked you all how you were. And now we are back from break. So 3, 2, 1. We're back in the room. And when the Jesuit fell, or disappeared, and Killane fell, it quickly turned that we could not defend ourselves against Ulrich and these warlocks. And so we ran. We use magics to cover our running, as it is still our realm, at least for a time. But they will catch up. Or maybe Killane's done us a favour and their concentration or focus on him will delay them. But I'm not a fan of allowing Ulrich anywhere near the body of Killane.
My question was going to be whether we wanted to try and protect the body of Killane. So the feeling the Jesuit's magics may only last so long. And if he's focused on that as his target, then that's what he's going to be.
If he's focused on that as his target, would he possibly be distracted from his companion who holds the horn?
What horn?
It would appear that Ulrich has stolen and holds hostage a very sacred item of the air elementals, and that is how he has secured their, I wouldn't say aid, it is not freely given.
Version.
Yes. It is his leverage for ensuring that they fight for his side. If we can retrieve that and return it to them, they wish to join us and bring an end to him.
Old Oak shakes his head. What a bastard. Bringing in the planes. Who? Do you know where the horn is?
We were told, or I was told, that it was on. It was switched between his two companions. I recognised the description of the one that Watt said was at the battle. I'm a bit concerned that the second seems to be missing.
And do you reckon the horn is here or with the missing one?
It would seem unusual to me that Ulrich would allow something so powerful and so key to his plans to be out of his own reach.
Walk.
He is...
Sorry, Kess. Walks, come here. Carry on, Kess.
Like you said, he is ambitious and he likes to be in control.
Ulrich is driven, there is no doubt. I believe the Red Lady is pushing him more and more. Do you know anything about the Red Lady?
Is known more as a deity within the Northern Realms.
Not a follower then, are you, Aristotle?
Not at all.
So you do not know the... Give me a religion check.
Harry gets out a strange 20 sided.
Yeah. Sat round the fire just like...
16.
16?
Not bad for me.
So the Red Lady. The Pantheon, in comparison to other pantheons across the world, is quite a young pantheon. It wasn't always the case that Ravenholm held true to a pantheon. The pantheon came about after King Reinhardt died. And the people of Ravenholm obviously turned to look for answers as their empire was obliterated, and faith became a big thing among them. The two things that it's important to know about people following the Pantheon is there is you already know natively that Ravenholm as a whole, even those quite low down, even the farmers know to take power or to be given power from elsewhere that isn't your own, that you haven't studied, i.e. if you ain't a wizard, then that's not for them. Some places are a bit more aggressive in enforcing that, others less so, but still there is a dislike of it. Faith, though, of that pantheon, so paladins and clerics, or at least those aspiring to be, is almost hypocritical in the sense they're like, well, if you're a warlock, you're an absolute abomination because you were given your power by something else and it's not yours to wield. Yet, if you pray to somebody and they give you that same power, that's fine. So there's always been that, and it's never discussed openly, but those that believe themselves safe, so like your nobility in the House of Eagles, discuss it openly amongst themselves, because as far as they're concerned, screw anything, they've got a job to do. The Red Lady is the head of said pantheon, and it consists of the Red Lady, the Grey Wolf, the Woodsman, and the Old Lady. But the Old Lady is not worshipped, as far as you are aware, anywhere. There's no temples, no priests, no prayers, no priestesses, no etc, etc. There is nothing linked to the Old Lady being worshipped in Ravenholm. But you seem to remember that the original story of the Pantheon coming about, there was an Old Lady. Whereas the other three are known. The Red Lady has only ever been known as one other thing to yourself when you're 16. And that was the Blooded Hood. A name given to them that at the start of the Pantheon, of when the religion first started coming to Ravenholm, those that followed the Red Lady were incredibly destructive of their enemies. Full on, even in defeat, there was no mercy. If you lost, you were dead. There was no, don't do it again, you're now a prisoner, behave yourself. Like, it was brutal. And it simmered down over the years. And that's what you are aware of through stories and histories. You know, most nobles are taught the history that Ravenholm's decided to teach. Well, that's
Long sip of tea.
yeah. There he is. Bloody nobles. So that's where you're at. 3 to 1. Back to Old Oak. You are.
She's part of the Pantheon. Kind of started after King Reinhardt died, and essentially, Ravenholm just doesn't appreciate. You have to earn your power. So, warlocks are really, really disliked. The Red Lady is part of the Pantheon, so you've got Red Lady, Grey Wolf, Woodsman, the Old Lady apparently as well. Never really seen much of their worship, but
There is a
they're part.
very big smile on Old Oak's face as you're reciting this.
I'm sure he probably knows more than I know, but it's fine. And yeah, it's just the only other thing I've heard of being called is the Bloodied Hood, and that when it all first started, the enemies they're just wiped out. They've got no mercy whatsoever for their enemies.
At the mention
And
of the Blooded Hood, the smile fades from Okarian, from Old Oak. They were known as what?
Bloodied Hood.
Walks, go away. Like, Walks literally has just come over and turned and walked back away. Now I do know the Blooded Hood. In fact, no. Cannot be. The Blooded Hood is a creature of the forest. Or was. Until the Jesuits politely asked them to leave the realm of the copper.
So that's where he's got the knife.
There is a aura that is flowing from Old Oak that is, you recognise it a mile away, Sapphire. Rage. Pure rage. And at the minute it is harnessed. But you've seen those little twitches in the eye, those moments in your tribal days. Whatever Old Oak is experiencing is the resistance to I would like to rage.
So Sapphire will naturally kind of hand out in front of whoever's closest to him, just kind of making himself almost a barrier between Ulrich and whoever is closest to him. And you can see his ears, kind of his big cat ears, flatten against his mane.
The Blooded Hood is responsible for more death in the forest than Ulrich has yet to even touch on. Toodles seems oblivious and has kind of backed away from Old Oak, feeling that energy. You there? And the fairy dragons fly back over. And he stares at them for a little bit, and they fly back, and everyone starts packing up. You hear the stream nearby. You start to see it now as you all start moving. Old Oak just gets up and starts moving. I assume you move with.
Yeah.
And he's got a bit of purpose about him now. Almost. He's still hunched, but there's a bit more, like he's putting more effort in to stand a bit straighter.
Yeah.
For you, Sapphire, I don't know how many times you've seen Old Oak, but you are aware that the satire you see amongst the fair creatures are as big as yourself and Ori. There's no small satire, no Mr. Tumnus is running around. But you, with Old Oak, you can imagine he was at least your size in his youth, but he's hunched overness. So he's still like 5'10", hunched over. And he's now walking. He's striding almost. And he moves towards the river, so they're now walking the bank of the river, and you see the river on your left-hand side. It is flowing quite quickly. There are autumn leaves falling into it. Nowhere else are you seeing these falling leaves, just around the stream, river, and it is flowing. The water is running in the direction you lot are walking. And every now and then, like Old Oak's just ignoring you now, but every now and then he will mutter Blooded Hood, Killeen, Ulrich, Knife, just in rambles and then the odd word. As you are all walking along, give me 2 seconds. As you are walking along, Ari, you walk through. It's like when you run into a spider's web, and you feel it on your face. Like for a brief moment, you sort of just like claw at your face and then push it away. And then you, and then let me scroll. You feel a presence really close, like super close, and you kind of look around. Nobody's walking next to you other than your immediate companions. 2 seconds. Nobody's walking like immediately next to you, and you're still very aware there's somebody present, and you instinctively move to your rapier and dagger at your side. Yep. When you grab the sword, the hilt feels differently, and you look down at your blade, your dagger and sword. Looking down at the sword, you notice that the hilt and the basket hilt around the blade has changed image. It is pure silver with 9 dull green emeralds decorating the hilt. The rapier just feels better, more comfortable, like you've used it for years and years beyond your current age. It just feels like you know you've worn it in so well that it now fits your grip, and you're almost tempted to pull it out and just start going through certain moves and stuff, you know, practicing what you were doing and such. Yeah. The dagger has a single ruby in the hilt, cut in the same shape, if that's the best way of describing it, as the emeralds, but it's just a single ruby in the pommel of your dagger. But there's not much change in it other than that. And you hear a voice. Tails, if you are there, speak.
My, what a time to find myself manifesting, and in such fair hands. I've seen you. I've felt you. Now that's an experience. Might I ask your name?
Obviously, only Ari can hear this.
Everyone's response to that. He looks down at his stuff and kind of goes, Ari?
Pleasure. Tails. Might I ask, just for my curiosity, where am I?
You're in the thing realm.
Ari, are you talking out loud or are you communicating silently?
Talking out loud so he wouldn't know any better.
Okay, you lot can hear Ari's first side of the conversation, nobody else's.
Have you finally lost it?
Harry?
I think the Feywilds have finally gotten to him, brother. He's talking to himself out loud.
Sapphire like pokes Ari with the bottom end of the Naginata, just like, hello? Oh.
I think perhaps you, maybe I didn't explain it quite right. When I say, where am I mean time, roughly. Like, what period is this? Talk to me of the world, briefly.
He tries to then respond in his head because he's noticing that everyone's kind of looking at him like bloody weird, and it's kind of like the year is X year.
Insert a year.
Might I possibly ask, like, what is recent events? What has gone on?
Ravenholm's just entered a civil war.
Ah, I see. The Jazzareet? How fares the Jazzareet?
We are rushing to her aid currently.
Interesting. And I presume the Lancelord, how does he fare?
Lancelord has fallen.
I think I can narrow it down. Well, I believe we might be, for better of a word, adventuring together for a while. So, is there anything you wish to know of myself?
Why are you talking to me? I don't understand.
I feel as if we are somewhat close. The blade that you carry, it is, how do I put this, a fragment of myself. I'm trapped, darling. I'm trapped.
I've always
Might
carried this
I-
blade. This blade was made for me. Why?
The Feywild does wondrous things to, well, just about everything, but a magical item here or there might be provoked in certain ways. I'd perhaps suggest you find the time to, of attuning yourself to such things.
I've literally grown up with this blade. Both blades were made for me, and they're not magical. They're just
Have you ever tried to attune yourself to something?
no.
Oh, what do they teach people these days? It's disappointing. So, what I would suggest is you perhaps attune yourself to me through this blade. And then we'll see if I can benefit you some more. And perhaps it would work out in my favor as well.
I'm so unsure. Why are you talking to me now? What's happened? Why has this changed?
Well, one can't be sure why now, but these things happen. I'm trapped. You're my keeper. Is that the word they use these days? And if I have to put up with you until inevitably the next person comes along, then you might as well make the most of it.
What do you want from me?
Well, like I say, perhaps attunement will be a start. By your feel, this isn't you. I get the impression that you're quite the dazzling personality. Maybe a little bit of what one might call a rogue.
Yeah, you'd be right in that.
Slick with your words, even slicker with your sword.
Okay.
Darling, you have to speak to me with a bit of flair. At least pick yourself up a little. I'm sure you've had a few exploits in your time, am I right?
You apparently were there, so
Yeah,
you know.
Well, I've been drifting in and out. I believe we had a little bit of what one might say, close contact in a recent dream of yours. But yes, please, if we're going to spend however long you're alive together, at least talk to me with a little bit of panache.
Am
I capturing your
things I
attention?
can't see.
Oh, perhaps I'll have to visit more often into your dreams. So, do we have a agreement that you will perhaps look to attune yourself? You are, as I say, one of perhaps a roguish nature. Maybe you could look into doing something stylish, something devilish, in order to further attune yourself to me.
You can certainly try.
Oh, where is the, what's the word? Confidence. How do you expect to pull off all these exploits if you do not have the confidence in the first place?
Listen, darling sword, I'm always
Here we
confident.
go.
And you just don't know it yet.
I prefer the name Tails to Sword, but I will take that as a good start. Anyway. Oh. Oriana, is that you?
And the voice fades. You look down at your sword, there are no longer the emeralds on it. It is back to its very well crafted, beautiful looking, eagle motifed rapier. And as the voice fades, you again see the smoky furred tabaxi with the silken shirt, dazzling emerald green eyes in a vineyard, talking to a halfling. What the bloody hell was that about, Harry?
Nothing.
I mean, that wasn't nothing. You were talking to yourself.
It was a rather in-depth conversation to yourself.
Yeah, normally if you're going crazy, you try and hide it.
After the first few sentences, though, he did actually.
Yeah, you did.
hide it.
But you've probably just been going,
Yeah.
Very obvious you were talking in your head.
Well, I don't care for humans talking to themselves or whatever you were doing. We need to find the Jesuits.
We do.
Agreed.
It will be an evening before we get to them. I know a place that we can call upon them for but a moment to speak. You have the day. I will lead. And then he scoots off. So you'll have the rest of what feels like a day to travel through the copper forest, following the winding and twists of this stream, just not quite big enough to be a river, as the water flows. The evening does cut, unless you guys are doing it through the day. I will carry on. Go.
Just make a note of Ari's mental well-being.
or lack thereof.
Yeah.
Why do I have to have another demon sword?
Yeah, you've got a thing for weird
You gotta stop talking to swords, yo.
But yeah, that's
Why?
that.
This
that
one
entire...
does sound an awful lot smoother than your last one.
Yeah, it really does.
I will give you that.
Just taking that event and putting it in like the
A box.
file this and look back at this later section of my brain.
Sapphire doesn't even know if it's 100% weird or not. Like, as far as he's concerned, this is a normal thing. It's just waiting a while.
The evening approaches. Stars start appearing above the canopy of the copper forest. Again, it just happens rather than you feel it. Rather than watching it. When you turn around, there's less and less and less and less to the last few of the fair creatures. You don't actually see any of them leave or wander. but the number of fey creatures with yourselves and Old Orc has diminished severely from when you first bumped into him. He doesn't seem concerned, and neither does Toodles. Walks is no longer there. Where Heavy, he's gone. God help him. But
He's just gone.
he's just gone. He's sat in a tree somewhere, contemplating. Maybe I should have been a dwarf. Old Orc takes you to a garden. There are benches there, whereas everything else so far has been wooden stumps sat on a log, etc. There are 2 benches there, made of a very dark wood, and they are set against a small stone wall that is the ruin of some structure, covered in growth, but you can, as you get close, you can see the stonework, and it is like the corner piece of a ruined building, and the 2 benches in front of it. And the floor in front of the benches is either real hard packed or some stone concrete going on, but there's quite a thick layer of leaf and such on top of it. We can sit here for a while and request the Jesuit's time.
Okay. And that is what we shall do.
Good.
I'm still not entirely sure what we're doing. Sapphire's
Staying alive, Sapphire. Staying alive.
I do tend to like that. Yeah, okay, that's fine.
Why are you dancing, Harry?
Harry's just
Always dancing.
struggling. I think.
Harry's lost the plot. I'll send you it, don't worry. Old Orc sits down on the bench, and you hear like a music box being played from somewhere in the distance. At first, you hear the winding up of the clockwork, and then the music playing out somewhere nearby. As you sort of turn to see where the sound is coming from, and you look back, in front of you is the Jesuit. They are they don't have their bald head. They have a short bob of copper-coloured auburn-esque hair. The colouring of their skin is less copper than normal. They still have the elven-looking ears, but the attire they are wearing is more that of someone who is not caring about their appearance, is keeping the chill away from their bones, as if they are very aged and grandma-esque looking. Ari definitely remind you of grandma, and it's the first time you see the Jesuit, bar when you first entered the cabin and they were knitting. It's the first time you've seen the Jesuit in a mortal light. They are aged to that of a old human. They simply look across to Xandria's scarf with a smile. Hello all. Hello Orcarian. Hello Jezza. Well, I only have moments to spend with you all, for the forest requires my power, or at least the last of it. Speak. Or not, and I can leave.
The character literally forgot what we were here for. I'm too busy internally laughing over the fucking tails. All I can hear in my head is tails. God damn it, Eddie.
You've given us a little bit of whiplash.
Why are we here again? What's happening?
I think Kess is kind of a little bit overwhelmed at seeing the Jesuit like this, having always kind of seen them as kind of this very sort of all powerful, radiating like archfey. So to almost like, while he's seen them in sort of different forms, to see them look so mortal is quite jarring. So I think it might kind of like throw him a little bit at the start. We need to help protect Kalain. And we need to get the horn and the knife away from Ulrich and his companion. But we don't know where to start.
I would agree with all. I can help you with one, possibly not the other. The knife I am unable to take from Ulrich's hand. But Kalain, however, and there's an edge of sadness to their voice, whereas before it was supreme neutrality. If you retrieve his soul, I can bring Kalain back to walk with us in this fight, or at least walk with you in this fight. But to retrieve a soul is not an easy task. You will have to walk paths you have never walked before, into realms not known to many. Even those that worship those that live in the heavens. A path of the soul is still a dangerous place, with ambient sound effects. You hear a noise. Toodles. It is one I will gladly send you on, for the life of Kalain means a lot to me. And selfishly, I need him.
I think we all agree with you on that one.
What is
Kalain
this
needed.
horn you speak of? Bloody plane of air, Jezza! Thank you, Akarian. I was speaking to... Thank you.
You're
Grandpa!
You should probably explain that, right? Like elbowing Caspian forward a little.
You went there.
Yes, be talk. Do talk.
Gives you a slight look of betrayal. It is how Ulrich has press ganged the plane of the air elementals into aiding him in his war. He has taken an item of great significance to their people. It looks a bit like sort of ram's horn. Apparently, his Ulrich's
The horn
companion.
of the Yamar.
Correct.
Very clever. If Ulrich controls the plane of elemental air, he controls arcane, or at least has. When a creature of arcane talent casts word to another via spell rather than mouth, it travels through the plane of air. That is its gateway to travel across Colossus to reach its target. They who control the elemental plane of air will see all message if they so wish. 'Tis a smart move by Ulrich.
Oh, that devious bastard. And then Sapphire like covers his mouth like in embarrassment.
Very accurate. And you are?
Hi, I'm Sapphire.
We met in a cabin, yes?
Yeah. Yes, we did. He bows. He's very confused about everything.
The eternal state of Sapphire. Confused.
Same, bro.
When Akarian requested my presence, he mentioned the bloodied hood, and the Jesuit turns on Ari. Turns towards Harry, doesn't turn on Harry. You know not the Bloodied Hood? Is that correct, Harry?
I know that the Red Lady, when the Pantheon was first created, she was known as the Bloody Hood, and they've got no mercy on their enemies. You don't take prisoners with the Red Lady. But yeah, you've got the Red Lady, the Grey Wolf, the Woodsman, and the Old Lady in our Pantheon, but no one really.
Can you repeat those four again, please?
The Red Lady, the Grey Wolf, the Woodsman, and the Old Lady.
I believe it is my mistake for not keeping better tabs on the material realm and allowing the comfort of my forest to blind me from such things. I am the Old Lady. There is a reason they do not worship me, for I am not a deity, and I do not wish worship. The Red Lady, I feel very gullible and hoodwinked that the connection was not brought to me sooner. The Red Lady.
I apologise for that, because that should have been me that should have brought that to you, because I've known about that.
Are you thousands of years old, Zanny?
No.
Then it is my mistake, not yours. Old Orc's like, you're damn right, Jezza. Should have been paying attention. You get the feeling that nobody else in this forest could pull that off with a Jezerite. This knife is of the Red Lady's creation. The Bloodied Hood was a creature of pure ambition. They did not settle for the balance of the forest, even within the chaos of our natures. The Bloodied Hood was a creature that pushed beyond that chaos, beyond that cycle, beyond our symbiotic relationships with all our creatures of the forest, and I politely escorted them out. Again, my arrogance in that beyond the forest was not any of my business, nor did I care for it. And I may have unleashed something upon your people, Harry, that I do apologise for. But it seems that it is doing a full circle now, and unleashing itself on my people. That dagger is a sentient creature harnessed within a weapon. A lot of our people within the forest are born of a dream, of a thought, a story told, whether it be the epilogue, the prologue, which are words I learnt recently from All the Carrion. The creature within the blade is sentient enough to know destruction, but uneducated enough that it is unaware of the death it is bringing to all. There is a dream that comes around very little and looks towards Cass and Zandria. This dream is a creation dream, a dream of cold iron. The tales that your people speak of are true in the sense of cold iron. It is a painful thing to experience as a story, as a fear. The dagger Ulrich wields is raw, untempered, as if from the forge into the blade with no preparation, no care. It is devastating to our people, and explains why Ulrich is able to cut through the realms. Again, I blame myself, as I was unaware that the dream was here. The blooded hood must have got there first. And there is a genuine look of sorrow on the Jesuit's face. Again, with that supreme neutrality gone and the grandma-esque humanoid elf in front of you. There's a genuine look of sorrow. I have little time here, as I must return to, and just gestures to the entire forest. The last of my story can preserve the forest long enough, long enough to hopefully give you all an advantage in what you wish to do next. I can hold Ulrich's forces in confusion for a while, but it will cost me the last of my leaves. If you wish, and I would selfishly put this one forward first, to retrieve Kalain's soul so he can do what his story is there for. I can aid you in getting to the realm of souls, but it will be dangerous. It will feel like many moons pass whilst you are there, but very little time will pass here. If you wish to go to the elemental plane of air, I can do so. I can aid you in appearing anywhere within Ravenholm. I merely need a request from yourselves, and a gift freely given will get you what you desire. You have a moment to decide. I wish to speak to Akarian. And the Jesuit and the Akara and Old Oak move off to the side to talk. You have a moment to decide what you wish to do. If anything, just chill the fuck out.
Relax. It's all good.
Chillax. Well, I know what my decision is.
Kalain.
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 I'm following you crazy people.
Ori just like, yep.
At least until, you know, we get over to the school. I'm with you guys. I want to help where I can, even if it's not my land I'm helping. If I can do some good, I'll do some good. You tell me what needs done.
Well, we made a promise to do whatever it takes. And I intend to keep that promise.
I think the only person that stands a chance against Ulrich is Kalain. And we need Kalain. We need him. And if there's a chance, then I guess we go into this plane of souls.
So the plan is, okay, cool, 2 6.
I just kind of share a look with Kess, which universally is the look of, I'm not 100% happy about kind of shifting the balance of life, but it's Kalain.
We'll make an exception for that.
We'll
beautiful
make an exception.
bastard.
Well, yeah, because they kind of believe in the whole, you know, death
Die in
happens.
battle's a good way to go.
Well,
but
I was going to
his
say
battle's not quite done yet.
it was more
So-
the death happens when it is your time. So if
Yeah.
Kalain's time was then yeah, but and you know you don't break that cycle. Yeah.
But he's fake. Go back. Jesuit stole the soul.
Not
Fate,
dead. He's-
special fate of finicky with that circle anyway.
So, there is. You watch as the Jesuit and Old Oak hug one another. Old Oak stays over there and the Jesuit walks back over. How may I aid you?
We wish to retrieve Kalain. Without him, I feel we do not stand a chance against Ulrich.
there is relief on the Jesuit's face. As Kes described it earlier, it is quite jarring to see such a creature in the polar opposite of what you're used to seeing them in. I thank you for choosing Kalin. Bless you, Harry. It will be difficult. Your life in the realm of souls is fragile if you go there as a living creature. Your ability to stave off death differs from time to time. If you fall, you may die quicker, or it may take longer, depending on where you are on the paths of souls. It is truly a place of great wonder and great less so. All souls travel either through here to their destination or remain there. So you will find souls of creatures that harbour a hatred towards everything. Creatures and souls of those that wish to help you, or hinder you, or keep you. You will have to remain strong, remain together. And when I say do not leave the path, I mean metaphorically. I give you this, and she gives you an acorn, just a simple acorn. Wherever it is warm, Kalin lives. At least his body awaits his soul within this realm. If the acorn cools to the touch of stone, leave the realm. To do so, use this. And they give you a stone acorn. Crush the stone acorn, and you will return to my cabin. All of you must stand together when this acorn is crushed, for it will only encompass a small area around yourself, maybe 10 feet. If it is used, anyone left behind is behind. I will not be able to return them. Are you ready? Unfortunately for Ori's ready.
I just kind of look at the Jesuit, and one thing before we do go, Jesuit, something that is said quite frequently in our tribe. Life is not a storybook, but life unfolds in chapters. So turn the page and learn to start again.
There is a nod from Jesuit. I hope one day a different author tells my story, and I have less to do. My thank you, Child of Summer. And Kesvion just nods, doesn't say anything else to you.
He's like, oh good. Finally, someone who speaks my language.
Pulls out a little golden packet with Werther's original on the side. Old Orc has not said anything in the last couple of minutes. Now, this tree here, and just gestures towards a very thick, not copper-barked tree. The bark of the tree is an ivory colour, a real dirty ivory colour. It is so wide that it's probably 20 feet wide. A tree you did not see whilst walking into this benched area when Akarian first brought you in. The doorway to the realm is beyond that bark. And then old Akarian goes, Zandria! Run at the tree. And there's a look from the Jesuit. She goes over to they go over to the tree, put their hand on the bark, and warm light just radiates in a portal shape-esque on the back. When you step, I cannot return you. Do not lose the acorn. And the Jesuit vanishes in a cluster of autumn leaves. Let's get going, kids.
Man, that was a cool exit. Sapphire controls them on.
We will see you when we return with Colleen.
I have no doubt. And you all step through?
Yep.
6 more into the breach.
Cool. As you step through the portal of souls, can you all give me a wisdom save, please?
Oh
I
boy.
didn't know that was happening.
I'm good.
DC 20.
Oh, thank God.
Not that good.
Pass it out.
I got a 19.
Oh!
I got a 13 because apparently I can't roll today.
Jesus Christ.
Wait, I have inspiration. I'd like to roll inspiration.
We also have a reroll.
We do have a
I'm
reroll.
using the reroll on Ori. They got on that one.
Yeah, no, that's
Please do
fair.
that.
Now,
Oh,
20 odd.
so that brings me up to 21.
Hey, welcome to the 21 Club.
Sorry, Leo, you left for.
So,
One second.
who got over 20? Who got 20 or more?
Me and
Sapphire,
and
alright.
the cat.
Kess, Ari, what did you get?
19.
Cool. So, until told otherwise, if you hit the deck, you only have 2 death saving throws, not 3.
Oh shit.
As you travel through the light of this tree, and you are rushing along some sort of... It's like being on a boat. You can't see anything around you, just light. There is a rush, and you feel as if something literally passes through you. Sapphire, Ori, and Xandria kind of bolster themselves against it, whereas Kess and Ari, you feel as if something was taken from you. When you are bumped into and someone takes your wallet, if that's ever happened to you, every Tuesday. But yeah, you feel as if something was taken from you. Time is non-existent. Sometimes while you are travelling, you feel as if you've only been there 3 seconds maybe from passing through the tree. Other times you kind of like get a bit bored with it. It feels like you've been travelling for days. There is a brief moment where Ari and Kess feel they have been a couple of years sat on this light raft going nobody knows where. And then again it speeds back up and you're like, oh, we've only just come through the back. You get to the end of the river, the light fades away, and you're in a harbour. And all the structures around you, it is like you are stood within a coliseum made of whites, greys, blues, shades of real pale orange through to pale yellow. There are greys, greens, reds, purples. The stonework and structures around you is very akin to a coliseum with a harbour running through the middle of it. And you look around, and in all the little archways of the coliseum, this coliseum is vast. You see, very much like the will-o'-wisps that are back in the forest, small glowing orbs of all the colours I mentioned previously, all the different shades of those colours. There is a golden dragon high above the Colosseum being rowed by a unbelievably not attractive in the beautiful sense, just attractive of the eye. Like you can't help but look at them and be like, wow. But beyond that feeling, it's not a physical attraction. It is just a supernatural what. Can you all give me religion checks?
This is where I fail. My
No, we can't.
pluses.
I can, but you're not gonna like it.
I just can't roll tonight. I've just rolled a 4.
I got a nat 1.
All right.
Wow.
Wow, I
Jeez.
don't feel bad about my
I don't feel
rolls.
so bad now.
Yeah, Dice Joe was a good
Sapphire,
shout.
what did you get?
A nat 1, so I got a
Brilliant.
4.
Harry?
4.
Kess?
12.
Jesus. Zandria?
16.
Cool.
What did Onion get?
Onion. Jesus.
Onion, Oreo, these are the names he gets.
I put Orange dice over.
How dare you?
I reckon a 13, 14, I'd have to check. Right. As you look up and you see the golden dragon with its rider, there is no way to describe the rider other than light. Like, you can't... If someone said, oh, what they're wearing, you're like, light? Like, that's the only thing. It's like forced. With your religion check, you do recognise the dragon. The dragon is known as Thargos. Yep, so Thargos. And you know the rider, but you cannot for the life of you remember the rider. But you know that the golden dragon Thargos and its rider are very, very relevant to light, souls, life, that sort of makeup of storytelling.
All the stuff that Zandria is not.
As you look around...
Fire. I'm fire.
She is bright, which is light, right?
As you look around this massive coliseum and in this harbour, you see more and more of these small rafts coming in from endless streams from outside the coliseum. The harbour stretches out, and it is very akin to a harbour that you've seen in the desert. When you look at it, you think, when you've gone to the desert port towns, and you see their harbours on some of the larger towns, that's what it reminds you of. Harry, when you see it, it reminds you of the coastal cities of Ravenholm, of harbours you've been in, Sapphire, both Viconia and the Vey Dynasty. You kind of look left and right, and you see both features in all of them. And you see people walking around as if you are in a town, just entering buildings, coming out of buildings. You see moments where people are enjoying a small picnic on a patch of bright yellow grass, as if there is a backlight beneath the grass. You see people walking domesticated animals. You see people riding horses, or the tundra wolves from Viconia. You see snippets of every bit of your possible past and those of others that you may have glanced. A simple trade going on of salt and spices near with your tribe, Cass and Zandria. You see moments of rage and violence, Sapphire, where there are mimics of scenes. You don't recognise the people of your tribe, just the scene. Same with Kess, Ari, you see various moments of people instructing in swordplay and such. All around you are souls. It doesn't take you long to figure out that you are witnessing these memories of these souls, these echoes, these reflections of life here in this Colosseum. Stretching out away beyond the rivers that are pouring in from who knows where, you see pathways, some of pure bright light that you cannot focus on for too long, others of a lit mist that wander off high and low out the back of the Colosseum. Looking out through the gaps in the architecture of the Colosseum, nothing appears to be... You can't focus on it long enough to go, oh, there's hills over there, or there's a mountain over there. You could have swore there were a mountain over there, but when you look back, it's a forest. You look over there, you've got a wooden log cabin, or a area of woodland that's been cut down. There are just as many images of geographical landscape as there are humanoid creatures, or any creature giving out thingy. What you do perceive once is a emerald dragon in the sky with its wings folded in, and it's as if it was sat in front of a fire position, but there is no fire around it. and there are 3 people that look... They look... At first glance, they look dwarven, but you couldn't tell. And they are patting the emerald dragon. And that fades away. And I'm going to leave it there. End of session. So, you have travelled to the realm of souls, and you're in the Colosseum of life. We will take it up next week and see where you go and how you fare reaching the soul of Kalain the Lancelord, and if you are successful in returning it to his physical being in the material realm. When? Sorry, my bad. When you return it. Alright, Jade. Well played. You've had a bit of a talky session, which was nice, because it means we didn't have to do a combat without Leo. Just for those watching, Leo should be back with us next week. Yeah, she'll be back with us next week, and we can see Orion smashing things. Thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Loads of lore got dropped tonight. There were several paths that I prepared for the players to take, and they have taken one. Thank you very much. I don't know if Mr. Valentine is still listening, but thank you for Tales of Wonder. We'll see.
I do try.
Yes!
Stop
Yes!
Stop.
We
Just
will...
freaked us all out.
It's when he joined the call and
I
like we
know.
all went.
We shall see what Ari does with his magical sword and friend. So yeah, thank you very much. Thank you very much to our sponsors. It's great to have Loki Battle Mats on board, and hopefully you'll see more of them, especially for the Realm of Souls, as they combat their way using their mats. Thank you very much to Ashana, who we're going to raid straight after this. Thank you very much to Ruffworx. Thank you very much to you all watching. It is truly amazing to have a community sat here sharing stories with us, from 14 of you to 30 of you at one point. So it is an absolute blessing to be able to tell stories and share them with you all. And the players are amazing, so thank you, thank you. So for now, say bye-bye, players.
Goodbye, players.
Tails?
Goodbye, darling. It's been a pleasure.
God.